Alrighty, it is 10 a.m. here in Central Time Zone. So hello to everyone from wherever you are watching from. My name is Ginger Williams, and I am here with Queen and Company today, celebrating the official World Card Making Day. We've made a whole weekend event out of our World Card Making Day, but today is the official day, and it's so good to be with you. I am here live at my craft table. We'll be over at my computer looking at some various graphics about what we're doing today. And I've also got my phone handy here so I can scroll through your comments. And I am just super excited to be with you. A lot of you were with me last night while we did our live kickoff. It was a really fun time. And we had all kinds of great things to go through with all of the amazing new products launching and specials. And we'll recap that a little bit today. But it's going to be a different type of event this morning. We get a chance to be a little more relaxed. I can answer questions a little easier, and we're going to have fun creating together. This particular live broadcast is more about the creative process and having fun as as you get a chance to see how I make my samples, and you can ask me questions about my craft room or how I do things. It's just a chance for me to share any tips or tricks that might make your crafting life easier, and a chance to just be together and have fun. So thanks for joining. Looks like we got quite a few of you saying good morning. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Okay, a whole bunch of you. Hi, Sarah, Beverly, Deanna, Carol, Linda, Sarah, Beverly. Okay, great. And Linda, I feel bad. Thank you for joining again. Last night I was calling out all of the amazing designer samples, and I mixed up names on some of them because I didn't have had the photos, but I didn't have names on them. So sorry about that. Linda made some amazing samples. Grateful for her and all that she does for the design team. Um, but yeah, so welcome. I'm just giving it another minute, let everyone catch the stream and get logged or get, watching until we're still grabbing people every few seconds here. Hi, everybody. Where are you watching from today? I am in Texas, if you didn't know. Queen Company is based in Arizona, but I work remotely from my home here in the Houston area. And I love what we're going to be doing today. Let me show you the basics here. Die cutting guide number 13. Now, you can raise your hand or leave a like in the comment section if you've used a die cut guide, or if you've had a chance to at least watch a live before and know what it's like. But they've become very popular. We're up to 13. Can you believe it? 13 different ways to use our foundation dies as a die cutting guide. I'm actually blown away at how many of these we've actually got cranked out so far, with more to come, of course. But if in case you're new, what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be introducing die cutting guide number 13 and working with it. It is a free with purchase item this weekend. If you're purchasing things in our World Card Making event, in the amazing sale with great prices on lots of things, if you hit the $100 threshold, this will come free with your order. I am not going to be showing you all of the pages of it live because we want you to actually get that free with your purchase. It's a way of saying thank you for purchasing with us. However, I will be flipping through and showing you the basic idea from one of our previous die cutting guides. This is number 9, another one of our customer favorites. It's one of our more simpler ones, but it'll give you the idea of what we're doing. And then I will actually assemble my cards based on what I already pre-cut from 13. So if you're wondering how this is going to go, and if you are taking notes saying, hey, I want to come back and watch this live once I get die cutting guide 13 in the mail, that's a great way to do it. Or maybe you're just crafting along, working with our World Card Making Day sketch contest entries and just having fun with that. You can come back and watch this if you like, or just take notes and jump in once your guides arrive. As just a recap of the event, we are currently here on Saturday with my live number 2. Last night, like I mentioned, I did the live number 1, which was our new products and event kickoff. And this one is Get Creative with Ginger and Die Cutting Guide 13. We've also been posting our door prizes today. If you want a chance to win a Queen and Company gift card, be sure and look for those in the Royalty Facebook group. You're currently watching on our public Facebook page. That's the way Facebook has a public page for us to show to anybody, but you have to be a member of our group to see the rest of it. Be sure and just answer the questions on our door prize posts, and that will get you an entry to be randomly selected, possibly, for one of our gift cards we're giving away. And of course, we posted earlier our card making challenges for that contest, which will have 10 winners, 5 chosen by voting, 5 chosen just randomly. So everyone has a fair chance at winning that, no matter how prolific you are. with creating. And of course, we have our Queen of the Crop and our Queen of Compliments going on. All those details can be found pinned to the featured/announcement section of our Facebook group. You go to the Facebook group, and if you're on mobile, I think it's called announcements. If you're on PC, I think it's called featured. But if you click on that, it'll show you all of these. We've been trying to pin these as we go, make it easier for you to find them. So, little recap of what's happening. And of course, there's more things happening. Updated resources being posted on Monday. Our card contest closes Monday. We'll be announcing the winners later in the week. So lots of fun things happening as part of the event, and we're so glad to have you here with us. Let's go back over to my desktop for just a minute, and we will take a look at a little bit more details of what's happening today in my class. Okay, so like I said, we're going to be talking about Die Cutting Guide 13. This is page 1, just kind of showing you some of the basics. This particular guide just uses 4 pieces of pattern paper and 2 pieces of white cardstock, or any color cardstock you like. Makes 5 cards, and you'll need 5 card bases. And the die cutting guides are great. They walk you through exactly what you need. And then we're going to be using today our really fun, brand new, find the picture of it. There we go, there it is. Moonlight Masquerade Halloween sticker kit, our full specialty kit that just released yesterday. It is a ton of fun. It has an amazing amount of options for your shakers or for your die cuts. You get these 5 fun little kind of Halloween monsters or shapes, and then you get all of these fun ways to accessorize them in their little costumes. You get the witch, the pirate, the vampire bat, Frankenstein, superhero, and then kind of down here we've got this little fun assortment of possible options of ways that you can mix and match all of those shakers with all of their little costume options. One of the most versatile kits we have ever released, and it is a ton of fun. If you were on the live last night, you heard that we did have a snafu with the foam that was supposed to be in this kit. Matter of fact, we had multiple issues with the foam. One of the hardest things about being a company that puts together kits is that we have pieces of the kit coming from all over the country and all over the world. And so we can't release a kit until we have all of the pieces. And normally that works out pretty well, but once in a while, just things get cursed. And I was explaining last night that this poor kit just seemed to get cursed with multiple issues over and over again that kept delaying it. We even considered releasing it next year instead. But you know, that ties up significant resources for us to do that. We decided to go ahead and release without the foam. However, it is on order. It is actually being shipped, I think, this weekend to us. So we should have it relatively soon, hopefully in just a few days, 5 to 10 days probably. So if you're wanting the foam, we do have something for you where you can, if you order the kit in any of the various ways it's being released, standalone or in a bundle, we will email you once the foam is here, and we will cover the shipping to get it to you. We will not charge you anything extra for that. The kit is currently discounted to reflect that the foam is missing, and then we will email you, and you can order foam when it arrives if you want. The other thing we're going to be doing today is I'll be going through and showing you how you can cut your own foam, should you want to do that. So if you don't want to wait, we have lots of options for you to be able to create either flat without making a shaker or to cut your own foam. And we'll be talking about that as we go along today. So long-winded start, but that's what we're going to be doing today. So just a couple quick samples. If you were on last night, you saw these already, so I won't take too long on them. But just to show you how cute these little guys come together. They are a lot of fun, lots of options, and lots of fun talking about them in more detail last night. But today, we're actually going to assemble them together. So let me take you back over to my desk. I have done all of my cutting already, but we're going to be assembling together. So first of all, if you've used a die cutting guide in the past, would you drop in the comments what you liked about it? I would love to hear from you, and also if you have any suggestions on what we could do differently in the future, things that would make them better for you, this is your chance to tell me, because I do have more future plans for these die cutting guides. I love them so much. But if there's something that you think would help you make it easier, or if you prefer like fewer cards, like maybe make it so it only designs 4 to 5 cards, or if you love it when it pops out 7 to 8, let me know what you want to see in future die cutting guides. So just as a recap of how these work, on the die cutting guide, you see the different shapes. These are from our foundation dies. All of our foundation dies are numbered, and so I've taken the number of the set that the shape comes from, and I've added it to the guide, and then I've laid it out on a 6x6 piece of paper, or showed you how you can lay them out on a 6x6 piece of paper. And if you cut it exactly, excuse me, as I show you here, then you can take those pieces, and once they're cut, and arrange them according to the sketches on the third page to have your cards. So for this, and again, I'm showing you from number 9, but 13 is the one we're actually going to use today. Once you are done cutting, let me show you what you typically have left over. Just usually scraps. In this guide, I tried not to make, pardon me for a minute, let me grab that water again. Every time I get talking so quickly, I start to have that dry mouth and the dry throat. Just a second. Last night about did me in because we went through so much. But here is what you have left after you've been doing your cutting, right? So this particular kit, or this die guide, uses pieces of pattern paper, and you can see the colors I chose from this particular paper pad. So I'm using the brand new Moonlight Masquerade pattern papers, new fun Halloween kit, and I chose to go with the kind of aqua as well as green, and then for our patterns, went with the stripes as well as, oh, the dots. Like, wait a minute, I know I had, so 2 patterns and 2 of our tone on tone. And I wanted to show you that that is only one way to do it. Pulled out some other papers to kind of give an idea. Suppose you want to use the same paper pad and the same die cutting guide, have a little bit of a different look. Here is another set of paper that would also turn out really cute and give you a whole nother set of cards that would still look really different even if you use the same die cutting guide and the same paper pad. So lots of fun options. Purple. You could do stripes if you want, but I think having the other solid is helpful. But this is one other option for you. And, you know, these die cutting guides, of course, can be used in any of our kits. So, for example, if you're going to get the On the Move kit or the Land and Sea, here's another fun option of papers from that particular paper. Got your 2 different busier patterns as your tone. So that's how those guidelines help you pick your papers. You can see this one actually didn't quite use up as much as usual. Also, I made a few design choices as I'm doing Halloween ad kit and kit. I actually went through and swapped some flowers recommended in the guide for stars, so I had a little more space left over. Normally we chop up our papers even further than this, but still thought that turned out pretty good, that we had very little waste. That's another thing I love about die cutting guides. Okay, so I'm going to lay these out and scroll your comments at the same time. Deanna, did you sleep yet or set an alarm for 2 a.m. your time? Deanna, I did not get a lot of sleep this week, I will tell you that. When we are getting ready for a big release like this, it is often a 60 to 80 hour. Spend 15 hours in my craft room prepping for this kind of thing. And partially that's because I'm a slow scrapper, you know, or card maker, I guess. Scrapbooker, card maker, whichever. I wish I could go fast. My brain thinks fast, but actually executing it, I like have everything perfect, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist when I'm making my cards. I take my time. I love those little details and texture. Whew. So yeah, I get sleep when we're done. So maybe tonight. Yeah, it's been a few late nights this week, but it's fun. It's worth it, and I love that you have these events because I get a chance to actually get to know you customers so much better, and I appreciate your comments and getting a chance for me to know how you work and what you enjoy about our products in these type of events. Linda, you said you admit that you cut shapes out of my background paper before final glue job. Yes, and you can see that sometimes our die cutting guides do recommend that, and I do it sometimes too, especially if I have a paper pad that I really love and I want to hoard it. I'm definitely known for doing that now. We won't do it all the time, like this one will stay solid, but our die cutting guides do sometimes do that. This one I tried to limit it. I wanted this one to be really user-friendly in terms of cutting, so things aren't quite as tight together on your 6x6. And I tried to limit duplicating the same die on the same piece of paper, and tried to limit this because inevitably when I'm using a die cutting guide, I often forget, like, to cut out that middle piece sometimes. So only one in this particular die guide. All right. Let's see. Let's take these out of their containers. You can see I've got my 4 papers as well as the white cardstock that the die guide will show you what to cut to. Let's start doing the assembling here, and I'll show you how the magic works. So you are going to need card bases. Let me take out my piles here, my dishes out of the way. These little mini casserole dishes, kind of like sorting trays when I'm doing a die guide. Really helpful way to kind of keep track of all the pieces there. Let me move those out of the way so we have a little more room for our assembling. I'll show you how quickly this comes together after you cut. So when I'm doing a die cutting guide, the first thing I typically do is just pull all of the dies. So I'll look at the paper, see what numbers are used in the die cutting guide. And matter of fact, I can tell you that right now. For this new one, this one uses mostly some of our slightly newer sets. So this particular guide uses 8, and that's just for the background, like you didn't have to use 8. Well, I guess it does have a little border, but 8, 20, 21, 22, 25, 26, 29, and 30. And we're getting so many sets now that should you not own one of those sets, odds are you might be able to find something kind of similar in one of the other sets you might own. So don't be discouraged if you're like, oh, I don't have, say, 25 or whatever. You can probably find something similar in a different um, set that may work for you. It's nice when it lines up perfectly and fits on the paper, great, but if it doesn't, maybe you've got, a rectangle from 25 and you're like, oh, I don't have that die, but I do have a similar rectangle in 19, but it's a little wider, it won't fit. Well, just grab an extra piece of paper and cut that extra one. It'll still give you the general idea. So feel free to customize as needed. And again, you can see I cut out stars instead of the flowers recommended. Customizing is simple and easy to do. Okay, so let me show you how that looks. I've got this little tray here. This is when I was getting ready to cut out this die guide. I just pulled all my dies, and that way I had them at my fingertips and ready to just lay out on my 6x6 sheets of paper. So if we were cutting them out, I would just take my platform for my die cut machine, and I would just get my dies laid out. This isn't correct, but get the general idea. And then sometimes I use just a low tack tape, and I will hold them all in place and cut them all at once. Sometimes I'll kind of do more like half and then run the other half. Depends on how much they're going to wiggle around on me, how big they are. If I have lots of little ones, I tend to do more than one pass. If I've got lots of big ones, I tend to do it more in just one pass. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I've got my 5 card bases, but I'm going to set them aside at first because I did take our backdrop dies and I cut out some, I wanted some little bit of texture and decoration to the back of these cards. Die cutting guides usually demo them as if they have a white background, but of course you could cut from any paper you want. And of course, for one of our cards, we're actually going to be using this as our background. So these are going to be our bases to our cards. Move my piles up. Got a little more room on camera to show you how this is going to work. Let's see, one. Let me do this in order so I can keep track of how it's going to turn out. Let's see. I like this background first. Card number 1. Be card number 2. Those up on camera. All right. Card number 3. A little higher out of camera, aren't we? Number 3. Card number 4, which is actually going to be sideways. And card number 5. And it's just a little bit further. There we go. Now everything will be on camera. Okay. Now I'm just going to go through my piles. And I'm going to have to make sure I don't flip those over. You can see that these two, the back side of each is the same paper. I do have to kind of watch that to make sure that I don't actually mix them up. So if you see me mixing them up, holler in the comments at me and I'll try to catch it and see. Okay, but for this card, we're going to pull up a bunch of these little strips and organize them across the background. That is one of my favorite things to do with a die cutting guide because hold out that die. Now you can use it multiple times and create a bit of a background. Then from our pile of white, have one of our newest fun big focal point pieces here. 30. From number 30, foundations at 30. There are a few other little pieces here just to look. Oh, I forgot there's one down here. Try to see how this might go together. We're a bit ready to glue. We won't be gluing just yet, just kind of sorting right now. And that's going to sentiment strip right here. And then I went through and, like I said, I pre-cut all of our little pieces here. So we're going to assemble some of our shakers. This one is the candy corn. That is going to go here on that card. Card base. Get it its own dish. Now that one, all set. Got a ceiling fan on. Blowing my papers around. Don't want that. Okay. So there's card number 1, all set. Get off camera for a minute. Let's do card number 2, or at least get it. That one's going to use this nice, fun, scalloped background over our hole there. And then this fun little piece here, that's foundation 26, I believe. Makes a great focal point holder. Right, then our what color here, across the bottom, along with a bit of a stripe pop. Okay, then we need a cement here. Those will be all the pieces for card number 2. And let me get a card base in there because I will forget that. Oh, and I forgot to show you. This card will use our pumpkin with his pirate costume. So put that in there with him. All right. Next card. So this one has some fun, kind of like border and banner pieces kind of build on. So here on the right-hand side, we'll anchor that with our teal color. And we've got this fun little banner. And then this fun little kind of, no, it's almost like notebook paper, but it doesn't have the notebook edge. It has a little bit different edge, but a little fun textured edge here. And then little banner piece, corner for decoration. A little piece here on the bottom. And a sentiment strip, stamp on in a bit. And then it is going to have one of our spiders. This is a witch spider. Oh, and there's one little piece right here. Accent color. Okay. Card base. That will be card number 3. Right. And next. What both cards are sideways. Or landscape, we should say, not sideways, right? Okay. So this one here. Which one? Like this one. Let's do this background. I don't know, that might be too busy. We'll do stripes and stripes. That's okay. They're going different directions. Right. This one's a nice and simple one. It doesn't have a whole lot going on until you get to the shaker and embellishments, so it's a good way to make the shaker really stand out and be the point. Lay up that striped paper. And for this shaker, we've got another spider. This one is going to be our Frankenstein spider. And face here. Fish. Okay. And then our final card, we will use this fun swirly backdrop die, which is one of my absolute favorites. I use it all the time. This one has a fun kind of anchored border up at the top that our little stripes hang from. Up. Got our 3 fun little banners. They're from Foundation 21. They're so cute as a little group. Accents. I go here, we'll tuck them, when we glue them down, they'll actually be kind of underneath that banner. And then they use this fun little monster here, which we're also going to do Frankenstein. Kind of went with a lot of Frankenstein this time, but it'll be fun. And now here you can see I've got some leftover stars. Oh, and actually this one has cinnamon strip right here. I've got some leftover stars. In the die cutting guide that I mentioned earlier, it calls for flowers, but I replaced all of the flowers with a little set of stars, since I would want stars on these Halloween instead of the flowers. So I'm going to put these up top over here, kind of off camera for a bit, but just know they're there, and we'll play with them as we go and accent our cards in a bit. First of all, let's talk a little bit about foam. If you've been on the website, then you've probably seen the In the World Card Making Day sale category. We do have our double-sided adhesive foam with acetate sheets. I don't know if you can see there. There are acetate sheets on the back, and they look like this. And they are great for creating your own refills. There's the acetate there. So if you have the outline dies, and if you have the decorative dies in a kit, then you have all that you need to go ahead and start creating your own refills. So if you don't want to wait for our foam to come in, or if you want to create more after you've used up your foam, you're doing your own do-it-yourself refills, then it's really, really awesome to have the outline dies and the decorative die to do your own. I'm going to show you how that can be done. So first of all, you can use this double-sided foam refills that we sell, or you probably have, if you've been a customer of ours for a while, leftover foam pieces from the insides of past shakers. In fact, I even pulled out an assortment of just random pieces that I have kept from past projects, right? Past kits. All of these have plenty of room to die cut some of our shakers from, right? These are from Endless. If you love our Endless kits, then you probably have tons and tons of leftover foam. So these also work. Now, our foam sheets that we sell separately in their own set are thinner. Let me show you from the side. So this is our traditional foam, and these are our foam sheets. So these are about half size. So you can cut these out and stack two if you want to get close to the normal foam height, or you can keep them low profile. Maybe you have shaker items like sequins and stuff that's flat. Kind of nice sometimes to not have such a bulky shaker. And so that's an option there. But these, now it's going to depend a little bit on your die cut machine, but I don't have a problem die cutting them through my Big Shot. So if you have a Big Shot and you just take your decorative die, and I'm going to show you from the spider. Spider has a nice simple shape. The simpler the shape, the easier it is to die cut. But I took a piece just like this and I ran through my machine. Let me show you how that looks. Just leftover scrap foam. And now I have shaker with double-sided adhesive on both sides. And keep the liner on it so it doesn't liner wants to pop off. But so you can see it has the stitch marks, right? So that doesn't really matter though, because you're going to cover that up with the cardstock decorative die that you cut out later. So that's one way to create a foam shaker and have a refill really, really fast and easy. And again, you've still got leftover foam that you can cut up and use dots or something. That's one way to do that. And then here is the thinner foam that I was talking about earlier. And I did the same thing with that using the decorative dies. So decorative die usually means it has stitch marks. That's how you can tell which one you need in order to cut your own foam refill. Here's how that looks. And you can see with this one, I definitely cut a small piece. Don't run the whole sheet through your die cut machine. It does flatten it a little bit. It tends to spring back over the course of the next, hour or two. But if you want to get the height of this, you'll probably need two-ish pieces of that cut with your decorative die. If you cut a small piece in this, you can save for more pop dots later. But and of course the centerpiece as well. So if you're like, "Ooh, I don't know, it might be challenging," it's really not as hard as it sounds when you have the decorative dies. Now you might be going, "But wait a minute, why do I need the outline dies?" The outline dies were included with the bundle if you got it, and also quite a few people who ordered the bundle didn't realize that the outline dies were included. I know Wendy went through and made adjustments to our inventory. She refunded people who accidentally bought it twice. So I know more of the outline dies are in stock for our kits that we release. But the outline die, other than helping you create your shakers, it's handy for that. It's also, and if you can see here, that's the acetate cover. You want to create your own refills. This is the piece you need to cut your acetate, and it will perfectly line up and match with your foam decorative die that you cut out. That can be your acetate cover. So if you're into do-it-yourself refills for your shakers, that's how that is done, and at least how we recommend that you do it. Let me tuck my pieces back inside here so I have them when we get to our spider card later. Just wanted to kind of recap how that can be done. You weren't on the live last night, and you haven't quite seen the kit itself yet, but you can see I store all of my dies based on how the die cutting guide recommends. So I go through and pull them off of the sheet they come on, and you can see my terrible handwriting, but I do go through sometimes and label the bags with the pieces. So this kit, I have them separated by which shaker they are, and then by the accents. So like I have the superhero here, or like I have the eyes and the mouths all together. Help me when I'm creating, keep track of things real well. If I'm good at putting them back in the bags after I die cut, then I don't lose things, which is really good. I'm actually pretty good at not losing dies. Are you good at that? Hope you are. It can be lots of fun if you end up losing your dies all the time. I have a couple of magnets that I have occasionally needed to pull out and use, but I've dropped something. But generally speaking, I'm pretty good at keeping track of my dies. All right, so that's do-it-yourself foam refills. And if you like use Endless, like look at this, these are all from the center of Endless. Like you may have lots that you may have to just go look through your previous kits. Like, oh yeah, I have centers here, and that'll fit most things. So, and I do recommend that. Now if your die cut machine is a really tight fit, don't force anything. Use the thinner materials if needed. But if it is like mine, I can get the thicker material. The thicker material through without too much trouble, because the foam does flatten out as you roll it through. Okay, so now let's put together some cards. Let's see here. Where should we start? Let's start with our candy corn. That is technically card number 1. Let's get it assembled. How do you do in your craft room? Are you pretty good at like staying organized and keeping things together, or do you have trouble with that? Let me know in the comments. Good at keeping track of how things should be and where they go and have a place for things, or if you're kind of more of a, well, I'll find it eventually, it's in here somewhere. Which one is more you? Glue this background together. Card. Assemble our shaker, although this one for candy corn, of course the other option is just to make them flat. They mail easier that way, and our dies work just as well making a flat card as they do for a shaker. So just know that that's one option we have as well. Let's start by putting our fun little backdrop piece, textured piece on our card base. Just gonna add some quick glue here using, I use a mixture. Sometimes it's barely art, and sometimes I'm using art glitter glue. I like them both a lot for lots of different things. And that's a question we get asked a lot, is what is our favorite adhesive? I love that the art glitter glue is strong enough that it'll even hold down embellishments. I use it for a lot of different things. There's that. Now let's get our bottom here. Also using my fun little Queen & Company glue stand. Love this thing. All day long, since I don't have to stick the pin back in the top of my glue bottle. Lay it upside down and it's ready to go. I wish I could say that these fun little metal glue tips still never clog. They almost never clog, but they do occasionally still clog. I still have to use my pin to clean them out sometimes, but it reduces it, cuts it way down. All right, next let's get our stripe paper up here. And I mentioned clog. My glue starts coming out slow because I'm on live. All right. One of the things I like about this particular backdrop die is that it has lines. So it makes it really easy to line things up nice and straight along the backdrop there. Right. Our color. Would you say it's aqua or teal? What would you say? Sometimes I have trouble telling the difference. Aqua maybe has slightly more blue in it. I don't know. Aqua or teal? Put it in the comments. Maybe it'll help me figure out which way we want to call it in the future. Turquoise I can figure out. There's a reference point for turquoise. This one has a little bit more yellow in it than aqua. Oh. Right, and now our polka dots. On. Are you creating this weekend? Are you helping, are you jumping into our card contest at all? Or just having fun with World Card Making Day, doing other things? Up a little, like that. This piece here, I'm gonna kind of go across that. It's gonna be our focal point holder. If you wanted to, you could even pop it up with some really thin foam that stand out a little bit more. I'm just gonna glue it straight flat on. This is gonna be more of like your flat option for mailing a card, since we're not gonna put together a shaker and assemble our candy corn Frankenstein out the shaker this time. Yes, are you creating this weekend? And if so, what are you working on? On seasonal items, Christmas maybe? Having fun watching other people's creations? Notice that already our Facebook group is full of all kinds of amazing stuff. To tap into some of the creativity of you royalty members. I'm always blown away with the creativity in there. Okay, and then this is just going to help kind of accent and help our little sentiment strip to pop out a little bit more. Get this green down. Assemble our shaker, or our non-shaker. Now, raise your hand if you've done non-shakers before with our shaker dies. Not hard. Matter of fact, it's maybe a little easier to put together the shaker. Okay, so there's our first kind of background. I'm going to save the sentiment for a little bit because we're going to stamp. Let's get all the pieces of our little candy corn out. Aim my camera down just more. Taking the camera, but you can see I've already cut out all my pieces. Lay them out. Back up. Eyes have somewhere I can see them that way. Have them blow on me. Literally with that ceiling fan on, huh? This candy corn, instead of having just one decorative die, has a couple different little pieces that you can customize the colors. Of course, your candy corn, you have to have the colors just right. So we gave you fun dies in this particular shape to help you to cut the background pieces. We've done candy corns before, and we've always, should we do it this way? Should we do it that way? What's the best way to make it so that we can get the colors right? It's actually one of the more complicated shapes to do. So we've done it where we've separated the colors. We've done it where the colors are all one die, a couple different things. But this one, I really love how this one turned out because we gave you these three here as well as this. So this is the outline die. I'm going to use that just to kind of build my shaker on. Not actually going to show it all. That's why I cut it out of just plain white. Then you've got these three pieces. I need to aim that camera down, don't I? There we go. These three pieces here that help you to be able to cut your separate colors. Then your decorative dies match that. So let's see if we can get those together. I'm going to switch to my other glue bottle since, of course, starts getting a little bit clogged just as I'm getting started with Alive. Murphy's Law for sure there. There. Get bottom piece on here. Because the outline die there, I have this really base glue on. It helps make it really easy to line these up. I guess technically I didn't even need to cut the tip, but nice to have that showing. That way it's all on the same height of your paper. Then for our decorative piece here, them glued up one. And then we use the sides. So if you're doing your own, cut your own foam, it doesn't even take that much foam at all for this one because you're going to cut these pieces separately. Then just like I'm lining up the cardstock pieces, you'll line up your foam pieces, your base. A few extra steps maybe, but a much easier way to cut out the foam since you won't need such a big piece from. Really easy way to use up some of those foam scraps if you have some foam centers of things laying around. Okay. Here's our candy corn. And we're going to make him into a Frankenstein candy corn. So first let's assemble our mouth. Got two pieces here because that helps us to be able to put teeth into our little face here. Our little fun black mouth, but with two white teeth showing now, right? We'll add that right to the center of our shape. And with the candy corn, and actually several of the shapes that you might want to put your Frankenstein hair on, I'm actually going to go ahead and trim off the top of this so that the hair doesn't poke out the top. You could do it however you want, of course, but I'm going to trim that off. And if I was doing it with my foam shaker, I would just retain that piece of foam that goes in the middle. Show you how that would look. When you've got the top of, or when you're doing this as a shaker, all you're going to do is take your scissors and wherever you're going to snip this here too, and then you're going to snip another layer just right underneath it. So you get a little strip of foam that you'll then put right here inside your shaker. And that way you can still have a shaker if you decide to give him that flat top with the hair. Right now, let me just use my scissors and we'll cut that off. You'll notice in the kit there actually is two sets of hair. One is skinnier and one is a little fatter. And that's just to give you some options in terms of which shape you're going to mix and match them with. Some of them are skinnier, like the candy corn up at the top. They are down at the bottom. And some of them are a little wider, like, for example, the monster and the pumpkin. And so we gave you two of your Frankenstein hair pieces. So if you're wondering, why do I have two and why are they a little different? To help you be able to have hair that will fit on your two different monsters. Halloween. That. Now, coming out the sides, of course, we want his little bolts. I'm going to glue those onto the back side here. On here, probably. Glue here. There. Let those peek out from behind. Okay. The thing left will be the eyes. Okay. Bolts. The eyes in this kit are fun. You have several different options for eyes. Oops. This is probably my personal favorite. They're slightly oval, and then they have a die cut center for the black. Put a glue on that. Let me. I think I've mentioned this in many of my lives before. I'm a bit of a messy crafter. Get glue on my fingers and fingernails everywhere. I definitely don't have, pretty fingernails or anything like that. I've got crafter hands. I've got paint on them and glue on them and all that kind of thing. There's one of the black centers to our eye. Let's go ahead in here. I've got a little bit of adhesive on the back of my black cardstock. The score tape that I put on the back of the cardstock before I die cut. Go. Isn't cute? All right. And then another little fun another little fun tip, if I can talk proper, is to take a stylus and some white paint. And we're going to go ahead and dot the centers of those eyes, but let me glue them down first. Not going to move on me. Got paint on it. A ball on there. One more here. Watch my lives before you know this is one of my favorite little tricks. And of course, it's not necessary. You could leave it as is. A little bit over. One of the nice things about the score tape is you can up a bit after you get it down. A little bit close. So I've got a little bottle of white craft paint. Give it a shake. I love these little bottles of white craft paint always have this at the top, a little stopper, because a stylus can easily dip right into that. And then you can take this and you can just add a little dot white paint right where you want it. Kind of brings, I'm going to redot that just a little bit. It brings a little bit of life to the eyes. Gives it that little bit of sparkle. More alive. Fun little optional take on the eyeballs. Okay, now we're going to let that dry, because if I touch it right now, I'm going to get paint all over, even though it's just a little white dot. All it takes to make a mess. And let's stamp that sentiment with nice black ink. I like often to use colored ink, but since we're doing Halloween here, nice crisp black ink. We're going to use a sentiment that says broomsticks, magic, and candy. Hope your Halloween is dandy. My stamp is. And I'm in my little stamp platform, which is, in my opinion, the only way to stamp sentiments. The best way to make sure things are going to stay lined up and do what they do. Magnets to sentiment strip down. Centered. Let's go this way a bit more. Can't stamp straight without a stamping platform to save my life. That's why it's a necessity for me. Maybe you're better at it than me. Maybe you don't need that, but I do. One of the best inventions ever. I'm so grateful for it. Now, sometimes my magnets aren't quite strong enough to hold that down all the way, especially with a large stamp. So I just have this little flat tool. This is a really old tool. It's been in my crafting collection forever. I think it's from Creative Memories, way back when I used to work for them. But it has a nice, super, super flat edge, and I can slide that underneath my stamping platform top. And I can kind of hold that paper down, but when it comes up, I can make sure it stays where it's supposed to. And then here is my favorite black ink for this kind of thing. VersaFine in black, and is always crisp and clear. It's great detail. We'll ink that up, stamp that. I got a little bit on the edge. Let me quickly wipe that off before I get it on my fingers. Did anyone else do that? Another thing that frequently happens around here. Why my hands get so full of ink sometimes. All right. There we go. Glad I spotted that. All right, and let's stamp it. Perfect. One of the things I like about this particular ink is that it seldom requires a second stamping. Usually once. My stamping platform, I don't need to like re-ink it or anything. It's a nice crisp and black. I'm gonna quickly clean off my stamp chamois, and then we can put it away. Get ready for the next one. Okay. All right. We're gonna let that ink dry just for a second so I don't smudge it. I'm gonna scroll through your comments while doing that. Any questions? Okay. So some of you have done the paint technique. Okay, yeah. Let me know. Have any of you else tried it? You guys done the white dot on the eyes before with a little bit of paint? No, it also works to use like a white paint pen, but I often just find that those dumb things, you buy it, you use it a few times, and it dries up on you. And so I gave up on them. Maybe you know a better brand. Okay, get our sentiment here. Let's assemble our card. All right, so I'm going to put the sentiment on first. Just a little bit of foam tape here. Let it stand out a little bit, foam tape. Then we'll add just a few little accents and embellishments. We'll be all set here. You can see how having the card base design for you just really cuts down on the time it takes to put together a card. All you have to do is assemble your focal point, get it on there, be all set. Cards much faster that way. And I tried on this particular set of cards in this die cutting guide to make sure you had lots and lots of space. So if you want to do great big shakers, you've got the room for them. These Halloween shakers have a pretty good amount of size to them. Okay, so I know we're keeping it pretty flat, but I am going to use some foam tape on our fun little candy corn as well. I'll even use some foam squares on him. These are really thin foam squares. They don't take too much bulk. Yeah, I've even got some even here. This is even thinner foam tape. But I'll add just a little bit more. Pop him up and just not have him blend in too much. It won't add much bulk and it should still mail really, really well. While I'm putting him on there, I just want to make sure I mention this while most of you are here with me, that in our Facebook group have a lot of fun resources that have been posted. First would be a whole bunch of new sketches that are exclusive just for our World Card Making Day event. They aren't part of our normal monthly release. They're just extra bonuses. And they are a great way to get your creativity moving again if you need a jump start on an idea. And let's see. There's also these resources that I've posted or talked about last night and posted this morning. If you are using any of our new kits, so here, first of all, here's the sketches I just mentioned, 6 new ones. Also posted this morning, resources to help you with just sketch ideas. These are different than what we're doing here. You can see different designs, even though it's the same kit. But these are my cards that I created when we launched this kit last night. And I have recreated them for you in digital format. And I've added all of the foundation numbers on them to help you if you decide you want to recreate my cards exactly as they are shown. That is available in our file section, in our Facebook group. So look for that. There's a PDF and it has all 3 of these pages in it. Here is the On the Move card design sketches. If you're picking up that kit, you might want to replicate the designer ideas. That's for that kit, and also the Air and Sea card sketches. So if you picked up those kits, make sure you go into the Facebook group, click on the Files tab, and then you can see that I posted just this morning. I think it says something like Ginger's resources, free live resources. I didn't name anything specific. I want it to be something that those of you who came to my live will know about because you came. And so just know those are there and available for you. Now let's see, what have we got here? I've got to see there's some bubbles. I've got them in orange and yellow and green. I do have some of these fun aqua. Maybe we'll add some of those too. I also have goosebumps in similar colors. They're just some older Queen and Company bling that have like a good fit for this. See what we make of it. Just going to give him a couple of fun little accents. And I think I'm going to start with some more. Oh, green kind of to go with him. I'm going to kind of give him a fun little accents across the eye around the card visual. There, and then maybe we'll add just a couple, do like a visual triangle. So these little go. Just a couple of fun accents. Again, you might want to do something different if you're trying to mail. But it still doesn't have very much bulk. You can see it's still really thin compared to doing the full shaker. But that is card number 1. We're already at almost 11, so I'm not going to be able to complete all of the cards with you. Let's do another one and see how that one comes together. And that way you'll have a pretty good idea of how die cutting guide number 13, yeah, I can't believe we're up to 13, kind of works out and how you can actually create cards really fast that way. Let's see. Okay, so let's do a vote. Would you rather do pumpkin, witch spider, Franken spider, or monster Frankenstein? So pumpkin, pirate, witch spider, Frankenstein spider, or Frankenstein monster. drop that in the comments, and I'll decide that one to do next. Let's see. Oh, good. I'm not the only one who gets inky hands. And dotting eyes, Gail says, not as steady as you. Yeah, but it does. Yeah. Sometimes I do shake a little. Sometimes I definitely have to admit to having to cut a new piece and redo it sometimes. Yep, white dot with gel pen. Yep, and they do dry out quickly. Good. I'm not the only one. I was beginning to wonder if there's something wrong with me. Let's see, Deanna, you asked, what is the sticky mat called? Sticky mat? Are you thinking of on the stamping platform? This here? Or just maybe my background mat? Let me know. If it's the sticky mat here, this is just a piece of magnetic sheet and a piece of very thin 1mm craft foam on top of that. And this is just some old dried up adhesive that's not really even sticky anymore on there. This is just a craft mat from the quilting section. I missed out what else you were asking. Drop it in the comments. Okay. Let's see. How we doing? Do Okay, Angela asked if we earned the die cutting guide, will it be emailed to us or included in our order or some other way? I believe Wendy is printing those and they will be printed off and included in your order. Let's see. Oh, Elaine, you're going to use this kit with your grandkids? Oh, they will love that. They enjoy making shaker cards. That's wonderful. It's a great way to hang out with your grandkids. Can't wait to do that myself someday. Dee says all the new kits look so amazing. Thank you, Dee. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Voting. Pumpkin, monster, pumpkin, pirate, pumpkin, pumpkin, monster Frankenstein, something spider. You guys are gonna make it hard for me. Let's see. I see a lot of spiders and pumpkin. Any character, says Linda. Thank you, Linda. Pirate. Okay. Let's do let's do the pumpkin, and if there's time, I'll squeeze the spider in too, okay? See how we do. All right. Pumpkin. And that'll be fun because we can put together a shaker as well, okay? I'll try to go faster on this one. He's not too complicated of a card, so see how we do here. Thank you for answering questions in there to see what we should do here. All right. Let's get our background glued on real fast. This one's kind of fun. I don't often include in the die cutting guides a full A2 front, but once in a while it just calls for it. So one is a good one for that because we're going to keep what goes on top of it a little bit simpler. Quickly, we'll get our scallops on there. And I have such a hard time sometimes putting glue on these cute papers on the back side of them. Anyone else have trouble with that? Okay. That one glued on. When I am designing and creating things for a live launch on my own, I definitely do not go this fast. I'm grateful for the die cutting guides that help me speed this process up, but I'm also a lot more precise with my gluing and all of that. It's part of the reason I'm so slow. So if you see me zooming by and going, wow, she really moved, and because I'm trying to be fast for the purpose of the live, not really my normals. Maybe if I could learn from it, it would be handy. All right. A couple of strips along the bottom, and we'll be ready to assemble our pumpkin. Isn't he cute, the pumpkin pirate? Like, the pirate shape was like a must-have when we were talking about costume ideas. Have to have a pirate. I was thinking maybe someday we even have like a full-on pirate kit. I've heard her suggest that one before, and I totally agree. Pirate-themed kit would be so fun. I have 3 boys that are, well, grown up now, but boy, that would remind me of them when they were little. I also enjoyed having the superhero set in this particular kit. When my second son, who just turned 21 recently, was little, used to tell me, when he was like 2 or 3, he'd dress up and he loved Superman at the time. He'd dress up in his Superman costume and he'd go tell me where I had to go so he'd go rescue me. Tell me what part of the house to go hide in or whatever because he was going to go save me. So pirates and superheroes and all that. Definitely reminds me of those boys when they were little. They were cute. Okay, we'll stamp in a minute. Let's go ahead and assemble our pirate pumpkin shaker. One thing that I mentioned last night, but I haven't had a chance to mention yet in this live is how awesome the toppings are in this kit. Take a look at these if you haven't seen them yet. Aren't they great? These are a nice heavyweight glass, little rounded, it's like a bead but no hole, right? like little tiny bubbles, and they have this great iridescent shimmer that probably doesn't come through too well on camera. We're going to add some of the orange and some of the clear inside of our pumpkin shaker. Let me get the pieces set out so I don't lose them. There's an amount of little pieces here. Some pieces. Isn't this cute? You got your fun little skull and crossbones pieces, your hat pieces. Of course, you have to have a patch since you have a pirate. And let's see, I've got a little tiny eyeball piece right there, and then bottom of our cutlass here. Okay, those are the pieces. You can see why I bagged them up, right? I didn't want to lose them all. Easy to do. Let's take the eyeball off of our background piece that I cut with the outline die. And we'll pop out, well, first we'll pull this off and add it to the center of our paper. A little bit off. Let me try that again. Better. Pop out the center piece here. Right, now grab a little spoon. Got my handy Queen and Company spoon, topping spoon. Great for digging in these little bags. And let's fill up the shaker with some of these fun rounded little glass balls, bubbles. Oh, Wendy, if you're on, I don't know if Wendy's on or not. I'm trying to remember if these actually have a name. But I love that they come in multiple sizes. Done a few cards with these already, so I've already did quite a bit of them. I want to add some of the clear ones in here too, just for extra shimmer and sparkle. I especially love the weight of them. Heavy enough that, boy, they just roll so nicely. Go. So merge together here. All right, that looks pretty good. Pull off liner. Let's go ahead and add my acetate piece. Normally I'm going to do some anti-static stuff, but these little beads, they're heavier weight. One of the other advantages is that they don't have much static. I don't even have to worry about that. Isn't that fun? You can see how well they roll in there. There's our pumpkin shaker. Get its decorative die on top. In the kit, you'll see that there are dies also to do like a stem and a leaf and things, depending on how you're going to assemble them, so whether you need them or not. As we're putting the pirate hat on our pumpkin, you don't need them, but in case you're wondering, they are included in the kit. Different with, you'll have them. All right, now let's get our hat put together. We've got this fun little bandana piece that will get glued just underneath the hat. A little bit of glue here along the bottom. We'll get that just attached to the top of that piece here. And peek out from underneath that. Like that. I wash this all the time because I've always got little spots of glue on it. Right. And let's glue him. I'm going to give him a little bit of support. I'm going to take some of the leftover foam from our pumpkin, and I'm going to just cut off a piece and use it to help support our hat. That down just a little bit. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but because the hat's going to go on top of the shaker, height need to be supported. And I'm going to take a little bit glue, add it to the back here. They adhere to the top of our pumpkin. Like that. Oh, actually, you know what? Let up just a little bit because I forgot we need to get his little eye patch on. Eye patch just has a small little piece that goes underneath the hat a little bit. Lifted up that piece of the hat just enough. We'll get it underneath there because it just kind of goes underneath about that. That glue. I didn't want it, but that's all right. I'll clean it up real fast. For my stylus. Thankfully, with the art glitter glue, I can take my, after it dries, I'll take my adhesive eraser. I need it. Got it. Get that little bit of pulled out on me. Maybe a little bit right here to keep eye patch down. Okay, here we go. So eye patch on. Let's go ahead and finish our hat here. It needs its skull and crossbones, of course, as a pirate hat. Last night I was also mentioning too how much I love that the die has separate pieces for the little bandana that goes on the top of his skull and crossbones. Then it gives you the chance to customize the color of his little bandana on the skull and crossbones. It can match the bandana on your pirate, or it can match colors in your card, whatever you have in mind. Little bandana piece. I chose orange to match our pumpkin. Alrighty, there we go. Cute. Now, of course, he needs his other eye. This is one of the other eye options in this kit. The plain round eye. Go right about like that. The opposite, our little eye patch. Give him a little dot here. Now, you could just do it with paint, but it does have a die in this kit for the eyeball sparkle. Add that right there on the edge of the eye. No, he's a jolly pirate, as all pirates should be, right? Got a little fun smile. I already cut out a sticky-backed black cardstock. Okay, then the last thing he just needs is his little cutlass. We'll assemble right here. And he'll be ready to go on our card. You put this cutlass on either side of your pumpkin. I kind of like it coming right off here. I patch it that. Get the top of his board right here. Then I'm actually going to cut a really thin piece of foam to go underneath that cutlass and support its weight. It is also going to be kind of hanging off the card at a pretty high height. A little bit thinner, I think. Hide behind the cutlass blade here. Actually, oh yeah, we're about to add them to the card. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here just so I can catch it. Go on. Oh, I got it upside down. The glue should go on the other end. There we go. Okay. About like that. Okay. Will get added to the card. This foam adhesive little glue on the back of the pumpkin part. Save just a little bit of space for our sentiment. Okay. Looking that. Okay. Already way past the hour. I was trying to get 2 or 3 done. May have to go with 2. But I'll show you again what we'd be making here. Okay. So the sentiment I was going to stamp here says, have a hauntingly happy Halloween. And I'll sprinkle a little more bling around that. But you get the general idea of how those would come together. I have a little bit of adhesive cleanup to do right underneath his eye patch, but I'll post pictures in the Facebook group later of how they all turn out. But if you want a quick and easy way to just take an afternoon or a day and create a whole bunch of fun cards, the die cutting guide is a great resource. And if you ordered over $100, it will be free in your order, printed out for you from Wendy. So make sure and thank her for that. Let's go real fast. Just a reminder, if you haven't finished your shopping yet in the in our World Card Making Day sale, let me just remind you of what is going on there in terms of our offers. Wendy does have a $100 or $50 off of any $200 order or $20 off of a $100 order. Make sure and look on the website for any of the restrictions, and you can't combine them. But go look and see if you can make those maybe work for you. There's the die cutting guide we just talked about, free with $100 order. And of course, last night I walked you through our free topping funnel that is also available if you order over 200. So next up in about 2 hours, Mary Ann will be going through and talking all about our brand new On the Move kit. So be sure and join her for all of her fun card making techniques and fun, and see what she can come up with and show you from that particular kit. Really, really cute. And then be sure, of course, to go look for all of those like door prizes in our royalty group. Go answer the questions so you can get entered. And then please, please, please do um, create and enter any creations you are making in the card making contest. That closes Monday night. And if you don't have time for that, well, that's okay. Come be our queen of compliments. Come and leave praise and let everyone know how much you're enjoying their creations in our Facebook group. So that's it for me today, but I hope that you all have a absolutely wonderful world card making weekend, and I hope that you get a chance to do something fun and crafty, or at least enjoy watching what other people are doing. Thanks for being here with me today. Oh, that's right. Are you still here? 63 of you are? Okay. There is a sneak peek for you. I know I showed one last night, but I wanted to show you a little bit more of our Christmas release. This is a separate kit, a different kit than what I showed you last night. This one is called Winter Weekend. We've got some fun pajamas. We've got the fun little baker. Kind of matches some of the previous like homemade holiday kits that we had in the past. It's kind of a bit of a additional a fun option coming out for Christmas time. And of course, there's other things that I'm not going to show you just yet, but one more little sneak peek as a thank you for joining me. Go look again in the Facebook group for the free resources we posted, RNC, On the Move, and the Midnight Masquerade all in one PDF under Ginger's live resources. And then the sketches from this weekend, also free in the Facebook group. And then if you didn't see it last night, there's the sneak peek we showed last night of the it coming out. Oh, I can't remember what we called it. Winter something or other. It'll be fun. But some really great shapes in that one that I think that you're going to be over the moon over. So thanks again for joining me. Happy World Card Making weekend, everybody. Have a great one, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.